Good evening, everyone. This is John Locke with the Locke in Your Success Trade and Market Update for September 1st, 2013. Before we get going, we'd like to remind you that the seminar is for educational purposes only. Please be aware that we're not financial advisors or broker-dealers, and we're not making specific trade recommendations. Also, any trades and/or results covered in the presentation may not be live trades. Any computer simulated trade results are believed to be represented as accurately as possible, and the risk of loss in trading securities, options, and futures can be substantial, so please be aware of all your risks prior to placing any trades. If you're watching this on YouTube or SMB, please come on over, visit our trading blog, www.lockeinyoursuccess.com, and join our mailing list. Okay, let's take a look at the markets. If you remember last week, we were sideways to bullish in the markets. We were up around here, the 1030 level. Tuesday, with the overall news in Syria and so forth, and we did have some pullbacks in the market. The Russell took it harder than a lot of the other indices here, and we had a good down day on Tuesday, had a bit of a bounce, and another good down day on Friday. So here, I still consider us to be at support. We did break some of the very short-term lows here. However, if you look on the weeklies, we are still in a very strong uptrend. We're still in our uptrend channel. And from this point here, we are still bullish. I do believe you could see things come down a little bit more. If you take a look at the SPX, we did not break to new lows here in the SPX, just kind of touched. And even if we came a little bit lower here, it wouldn't really be a big deal. So, as we are looking at things, we're still long-term bullish on both the SPX and the Russell. As far as the NDX goes, again, we're still holding some pretty high levels here, and this still looks bullish. And the worst of all would be the Dow. The Dow did break down under its one of its uptrend lines. We may be coming back and testing this low down here, and that would bring us right into our primary trend line. So possibly a little bit lower in the markets. But in general, we should be coming into support fairly soon and give ourselves a nice bounce. It may even start here. We'll have to see how the Syria news gets digested by the market. But void of any significant news there, we are likely to bounce very soon here. And if the patterns hold, the bounce should be very significant. So that's what we're expecting in the marketplace. We'll probably go higher. So we may get a quick reaction down, but as soon as things get settled out, we should go higher. Okay, let's take a look at our positions. I'd like to start with let's start with the M3 trade here. It's the most complicated trade that I've been doing as far as moving stuff around. If you look at this, this is not really an M3 position, and I kind of haven't been trading this as an M3 position. I've been just kind of moving options around, trying to keep delta flat. And that's the issue. You get a market that's a little bit choppy like it is now, and your gamma is relatively high, and you're not controlling your gamma trend, and you're keeping a very low delta. Then you go from your maximum positive delta to your maximum negative delta very quickly, and you end up in this scenario where you're adjusting up and adjusting down, and you're not really getting anywhere. This is pretty much what's been happening in this trade. So as of right now, this is the M3 trade for the website. However, just be aware that this isn't the way an M3 is normally traded. We have bad gamma trend, and we've been allowing the market to chop us back and forth. So very poor example of an M3. However, we'll track it anyway, and we'll see how it comes out. We should be able to do fine. If you look at our T-log for adjustments here on Monday, we had a position that looked like this. If we take a look at our analyzed graph, you can see our gamma trend's kind of out of whack here. And again, because our gamma trend is off and we're keeping such a tight delta, we do not allow ourselves a whole lot of market movement before we have to move it back and forth. And like I said, the back and forth movement has been picking up in the marketplace. That being the case, it's been very harmful to us the way we've been trading this. So on Monday, the market was up. So what I did, if you remember, last week we bought or sold a broken wing butterfly here, 970, 1000, 1070. And what I was attempting to do is just straighten out the gamma trend in the position. So if you come to the end of the day, I sold that butterfly, and you can see that the position is starting to straighten out a little bit. And I was kind of hoping the market would just continue to climb here. So we sold that butterfly. You can see this almost looks like an M3 now. It's not bad. So from here, the market just went down hard because Tuesday was a very hard down day. I was looking at the pricing and so forth of trying to straighten a situation out here with the trade, and I didn't like the butterfly pricing, and I'm in a complicated position now, so it was going to be difficult to actually do a butterfly rollback. So what I ended up doing is actually taking some of these 1020s, 5 of them by the end of the day, and bring them down to 1,000 just to correct our delta issue. So if we come here to the end of Tuesday, you'll see this 5 of these 1020s. Actually, there's only 4 of them there. Let's go to the end of the day. There should be 5. There we have 5 of these 1020s went down to 1,000 and corrected our delta numbers, but ruined our gamma trend numbers again. And again, this is fixable. I didn't necessarily want to fix it at this time. Kind of wait to see where the market's going to stabilize. So if we come into the next day, or I believe we kept this position until Friday, where we ended up taking the last 1,000 or one more 1,000 and bringing it down 1020, one more 1020 and bringing it down to 1,000. So this is what our position looks like here. Now we have 10 at 1,000. I actually like this better, and I kind of wanted to do this earlier. This gives us a nice spot to put our butterfly. As long as the market doesn't drop down much more, we can roll back these 1070 and 970s and get more of a butterfly position, which is how I'm probably going to straighten this out if the market continues to sit or go or drift higher. So I can come into here, and you'll notice how it brings everything back. This looks very M3-ish, except of course we're way too positive delta, so you take these and maybe even bring it all the way down to here, right? And excuse me, -5. And this would put us more in an M3-ish type of a position, even though we're still a little saggy to the upside here. That may be overdoing a little bit, but you kind of get the idea. This can be straightened out with a couple of bullish vertical spreads and a bearish vertical spread. Play around with the options a little bit and get back straightened out. But as long as the market doesn't move a whole lot, I'm not too concerned about it. We are concerned about gaps. A really big gap up is not going to be good for us at this point. And it looks like that might be what's coming on Monday. It's really too early to tell. But the futures markets are taking the delay in the Syrian attack quite well here, and they're up quite a bit. Okay, so that's basically where the M3 sits for coming into Tuesday. The only other thing that I actually touched was the bearish butterfly for September, and I pulled the position off. If you remember, let's just go back to Thursday. This is pretty much the position we were sitting in towards on Thursday, towards the end of the week. We're pushing the downside quite a bit, and if you remember, we had a very low volatility earlier in the month. We had to do some delta rolls. We ended up in the 1040, 1060s, and of course then volatility picked up and the market started coming down. We ended up removing the 1060s and being in a single 1040. We, at this point, as of Thursday, are 22 days from expiration. We have a reduced profit target of $5,000 at 21 days to expiration. We've been whipsawed. The market's pushing hard at the downside. We don't know if it's going to stop. We don't know if it's going to bounce. But according to the rules, we are out at 21 days, over $5,000. A lot of times I'll stick it out further. However, with the market conditions the way they are, not knowing what's going to go on, being over our profit target, it's responsible to get out. So we went ahead and did that, and we pulled this trade on Friday when the market continued down. We were no longer up 7,000 at that point, though we did draw down some. So look at our reports here, 58.60 is what we pulled out for the month. So a little over 10%, closer to 11 or 12, I guess, but and decent month for that this month. If we take a look at the condition of our other trades we got on, we have a September V condor on, so let's take a look at that. This trade, like I said, had no adjustments. We are pushing some positive delta here by the end of the day, but no ways near what's really a concern. We had some drawdown because of the volatility. Realistically, a bounce with volatility lift will put us in the $3,000 range fairly quickly. So this is doing very, very well as long as the market doesn't crash. If it crashes, we can max loss out, but it would take a very fast move to 970, which would be quite a move. So I'm happy with this so far. If we take a look at the V condor for October, there were no adjustments here. We're up a few $100. We're sitting in a position that looks like this. No concerns here really at all. And hopefully if the market actually this solves up and the market creeps up like we think it will, up into this range, we'll be doing pretty well. If we take a look at our next trade, it would be our September ROCK position. If you remember right, we entered the ROCK position in an M3 because of the volatility levels at the time. And this trade is up 1578. It has had no adjustments. Here's what we look like. We're due for a rollback. If we get much under 1,000 here, then we can roll this position back. The last trade we have on would be the October Bearish Butterfly, which also got no adjustments. And that's sitting here up about 1,500. And here's what the position looks like. So that's all of our positions. Everything is doing fairly well. Nothing's in any trouble whatsoever. And barring any news, the markets should bounce relatively soon. I do expect the bounce to be very hard. If we have good news out of Washington, it may be very, very hard. So, watch your upside with your trades and enjoy the holiday tomorrow and have a fantastic week. We will keep you updated with any changes. Thank you and good night.